From the company making its F1 grand entrance in 2010 to Nick de Vries being the latest victim of the alleged curse, here's Red Bull's second seat curse explained. Now, Formula One has seen many dominant teams like Williams, McLaren, and Ferrari, but in 2010, Red Bull burst onto the scene with a bang. In fact, they ruled the V8 era, securing 4 consecutive titles. But nowadays, they're known for something entirely different. Yep, you guessed it. It's the team's infamous second driver seat curse. Well, here's the scoop. Whether it's Daniil Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, or Alex Albon, it's been a struggle for the team to find the perfect fit and consistently perform at their peak. The curse first began in 2013, when Mark Webber decided to bid farewell to Red Bull and left Formula One altogether. Obviously, the team faced a tough challenge here. After all, Webber had helped Red Bull set a solid base in Formula One, but it looked like the franchise had a trick up their sleeve as they decided to promote the young and talented Daniel Ricciardo to team up with the reigning champion Sebastian Vettel. Now things heated up. Basically, Ricciardo exceeded everyone's expectations by outshining Vettel. To add to that, the reigning champion found it hard to adapt to new regulations, and he left Red Bull for a future with Ferrari. As if this wasn't enough, Daniel also left the team in 2018. That's when the infamous second seat curse started gaining attention. So here we are, witnessing the team's ongoing struggle to find the perfect star driver. Will they ever break free from the clutches of this curse? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the team journey in Formula One has been one hell of a ride. Coming back to Vettel, Red Bull decided to hand the second seat to Daniil Kvyat following his departure. And you know what? Daniil showed some serious speed out there. I mean, he even managed to outshine Ricciardo occasionally. Talk about giving it your all. But hold on tight, because here comes the twist. The thing is that the franchise had its eyes on a rising star from its driver program, Max Verstappen. So, in the middle of the 2016 season, Kvyat found himself back at Toro Rosso, while Verstappen stepped up to the challenge. Now, you might think being introduced midway would put a lot of pressure on Max, but guess what? This man had other plans. Can you believe it? He won the race. Finally, Red Bull had their dream team. A talented duo who could give Mercedes and Ferrari a run for their money. And the best part, they worked together most of the time, putting up a strong fight on the track. Now, over the next 2 seasons, they added 8 more wins to their tally, although it wasn't quite the same as their early 2010s glory. But let's not forget that the franchise had a fair share of engine troubles. Honestly, they weren't exactly on the best terms with Renault after wanting to part ways in 2015. Turns out, they did end their contract with Renault, but in the middle of 2018. It all started with some rumors at that time, suggesting that Red Bull was ready to end their long-standing partnership with Renault. Instead, they were eyeing a new engine supplier, none other than Honda. But wait a minute, Honda's recent performances were disappointing, to say the least. Still, the rumors turned out to be true, and it was officially announced that Red Bull would bid farewell to Renault and start a new adventure with Honda. Obviously, it was a risky move, but you can't deny that the franchise is known for its fearless nature. Now, let me shift the attention back to the drivers. What happened was that Daniel Ricciardo dropped a bombshell during this whole ordeal. He announced that he'd be leaving the team and making a surprising move to Renault. Talk about turning the tables. Of course, this left Red Bull facing yet another challenging situation. With Ricciardo's departure, Brendan Hartley and Pierre Gasly suddenly found themselves in the spotlight. But let me tell you, they were new to the Formula One scene and lacked the level of experience that Ricciardo brought to the table. With that said, Pierre Gasly found himself in the second seat. As for Hartley, he was completely cut off from the Formula One world thanks to Helmut Marko's swift dropkick. Ouch. Now, it didn't take long for the second seat curse to hit Pierre. He had a rocky start at the Australian Grand Prix. Mind you, he finished in a disappointing 17th position.
Sure, he fought his way up to 11th place, but things didn't get any better for him. In fact, he continued to struggle in Red Bull. While Verstappen consistently secured podium finishes, Gasly's best result was a modest 5th place. Clearly, the pressure was taking a toll on his performance.
Now, recall what happened with Daniil Kvyat in the past. It left everyone wondering, would history repeat itself with Gasly and he'd also head back to Toro Rosso? But then, Helmut Marko reassured Pierre that his seat was safe, promising that no other driver would take it away from him. Ooh, he dodged a bullet, right? Well, not quite, because Gasly did end up back at Toro Rosso. Just when you thought it couldn't get interesting, rumors started that Alex Albon would be taking over from Gasly. Fast forward to Albon's big debut at the Belgian Grand Prix. To be honest, he made a good impression, securing a 5th place finish. Sure, he wasn't quite on par with Verstappen yet, but he did display impressive skills and consistency. In fact, he was on track for his first ever podium before Lewis Hamilton took it away from him. Recognizing Albon's potential, the franchise decided to retain him for the 2020 season. Things started off promising, until, you've guessed it, Hamilton once again beat Alex. Now, as the season progressed, Albon faced similar challenges to Gasly, often missing out on Q3 and struggling to challenge the top teams. And that's when rumors started swirling that he could be replaced by a driver from outside Red Bull's junior program. Two notable names in the mix were Sergio Perez and Nico Hülkenberg. After months of anticipation, the team finally announced that Sergio Perez would be joining forces with Verstappen in the 2021 season. Moving on, Perez kicked it off in Bahrain, where he made an impressive debut for the team, securing a 5th place finish. It seemed like he had quickly adapted to the Red Bull car, making us question whether the second seat was truly cursed. Maybe they had finally found the right driver, right? Well, wrong. Things quickly took a disappointing turn at Imola, where the driver finished in 12th place. Yes, the second seat curse was back again. But the roller coaster ride wasn't over just yet. Perez bounced back, securing top 5 finishes in the following 7 races. No wonder this gave everyone hope that Perez could be the one to break the spell. But all hopes of a brighter future vanished when the British and Hungarian rounds saw him finish outside the points. Obviously, it was a tough blow for the team and Perez himself. And guess what? Everyone started speculating that he'd be swapped by Gasly, who had been impressing in his alphatauri car, with several points of finishes, and even a podium in 3rd place. Although the team announced that he'd stick around for the 2022 season, but later, Nick de Vries appeared on the scene. Now he's the latest victim of the alleged curse. In fact, his F1 career's over, at least for now. This comes after several disappointing performances and frequent errors in the 2023 season. And now, the franchise has decided to replace him with Daniel Ricciardo. Yup, you've heard that right. With a best finish of 12th place in Monaco and only 3 appearances in Q1, it's safe to say that Nick didn't live up to the hype generated after his incredible performance in the 2022 Italian Grand Prix. But let's not forget, though, that being a rookie in Formula One isn't an easy task, especially when it comes to unfamiliar tracks like Melbourne and Miami. Besides this, it's worth mentioning that de Vries already had a taste of F1 racing when he substituted for Alex Albon and scored points for Williams last season. But you can't deny that his 2023 performances fell short of expectations set by that impressive outing. Even he admitted that he had made too many mistakes. Despite that, he expressed confidence in his seat and argued that his success shouldn't be judged by numbers and achievements. Looking back, it may seem that Red Bull acted hastily by signing him shortly after his debut, but dropping him in the middle of the season is even more surprising. Anyways, let's just hope that Daniel Ricciardo finally brings an end to the curse for good. So, there you have it. From Nick de Vries being the latest victim of the alleged curse, to the company making its F1 grand entrance in 2010, that was all you needed to know about Red Bull's second seat curse.